And then there's the issue, however, that I've heard oftentimes that elders have to kind of eat through their savings in order to qualify for Medicaid, which will then pay for the full cost of nursing homes. Do you see a lot of that happening?
What, I'm sorry, repeat it. You've seen what?
Well, so, one of the things that I hear most often is that, it's easier sometimes for people to be in nursing homes from a financial standpoint because Medicaid will cover it, and elders have to kind of live down their last savings in order to qualify for Medicaid, which will then pay for the nursing home care.
There is no doubt that, at least again in the state of New Jersey, and there has always been a bias towards long-term care institutionalization through the Medicaid program. If seniors were given the same allowance to stay in the community that the state pays for them to be in a nursing home, then we wouldn't be going into nursing homes prematurely. You're right. Medicaid will pay for you in a nursing home where they will not, and again in the state of New Jersey, no one in the state of New Jersey gets live-in help under Medicaid.
Right.
So, but my other advice is if your caregivers who are caring for their loved ones are in what's called a spend-down mode to be able to become eligible for Medicaid, it's yet another reason to use a licensed home care company, because when Medicaid does their review and you say, look, I've been a great son, and for the last 4 years I've used every penny of my mother's own money to care for her at home with dignity, and she's outlived that. I've spent $70,000 a year to honor her by keeping her at home, and now the savings is gone. You need to prove to Medicaid that you have spent that money on your mother and that you don't now have a villa in Tuscany. Mm-hmm. And if you have had a private person who you've been paying under the table and don't have checks and receipts and bills for, then you're really up the creek, because now you can't prove that you spent the money and you don't have any to get into the nursing home. And you're going to have to show where $300,000, $400,000 went. And people try to outsmart the Medicaid rule. That's a scenario that's very sad. So many elder care attorneys advise people to use, even though it costs more. Now, if you're in a spend-down mode for Medicaid, then you don't necessarily have to be protecting an asset, because your goal is to spend down, not to save.
Right.
So people who say, well, but I can get a lot more care for a lot longer if I go with the underground and pay $10 an hour instead of $20, well, that's great, except now you have no proof, and so what? You've kept someone home a little bit longer, but now you're not eligible for the nursing home.
Wow.
So there's so many considerations, and it's hard. Again, a geriatric care manager can advise. Hopefully, not before it's too late.
Barbara, thank you very much for, sharing these details with our audience, because I think a lot of people are out there trying, doing this sort of balancing act of, what should we do? Should I hire my housekeeper who's going to be, significantly less? And I have to, I will admit that on our side of the family, my father-in-law loved his housekeeper and wanted her to basically become his his home health aide.
I understand. It happens every day.
So, fortunately,
how'd that go for him?
Well, we ended up actually using her just a couple of days, and then we had a home health aide come in for the majority of the week. So I mean,
it's a strong attachment.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. The housekeeper of 35 years.
Yeah.
And the change to a stranger is very, very difficult. When I just today, and it happens every day, Susan, someone said, "Well, I need 12 hours of care. I don't want to live in." Well, a live-in is actually more economical than 12 hours of care. But you know what? A live-in is an intimate stranger living with you. And for this cohort group, that takes a lot of time to adjust to.
Yeah.
So, chocolate and vanilla, different strokes for different folks, and combinations have worked in the past.
Well, Barbra, thank you again for coming on the show and clarifying all these, I think, very confusing aspects of home health care, geriatric care, and how we pay for it, and sort of, the dangerous loophole we can get ourselves into by spending down and not doing it the right way. So I really appreciate your bringing your expertise into this. Tell us about, just to finish up, and I think I also want to remind the audience that if they want to learn more about Freedom Eldercare, they can go to www.freedomeldercare.com, and they're based in New Jersey. Tell us again about your services. So you do geriatric care management.
We're predominantly a private home health care company, but also doing nursing care services and other kinds of contracts in healthcare. We do serve the entire state, so it's not just northern New Jersey, it's southern New Jersey. We kind of specialize right now in live-in care and have for a long time, so that we're able to cover the state and seen as one of the leaders in the field. And I guess one of the biggest differences of Freedom is, as I've expressed to you how important geriatric care management is and how helpful it can be, at Freedom, because we believe so strongly in it, all of our clients receive care management free of charge because families need this help, and that's how strongly we feel about it. And one of the other things we offer as I close is if your listeners are looking for generic information, not necessarily state-specific, we do have an informational hotline, and we welcome them to call at any time. Spending this kind of time with a family member that helps them go in the right direction is also at the core of what Freedom believes in.
Wonderful. What is that hotline?
That hotline is 888. It's toll-free. I'm sorry, it's 866-737-3336. Or they can think of 866-7-FREEDOM. And
wonderful. And it's a free call.
We welcome anyone. It's a free call and a free consultation.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much. I want to thank our audience for tuning in, and I'd like to invite all of you to join us next Tuesday, April 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern, when I will be interviewing Kim Linder, who's the founder of Senior Holistic Living, which is a resource center for elders, and she's also the host of the Caregiver Hour radio show down in Tampa, Florida. To learn more about eCare Diary and our upcoming shows, please sign up for our newsletters on www.ecarediary.com. There is a newsletter sign-up form right on the home page. And you can find us on any of the social media venues, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And my Twitter address is eCare Diary Susan, if you're interested in following me. Thank you, Barbra, for joining us again.
Susan, a pleasure. And great service to caregivers. Thank you for eDiary.
Thank you very much. And Barbra is, again, of freedomeldercare.com. Thank you again, and we'd love to have you back.
Good day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.